This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
What is happening, nerds and nerdettes? We are live. This is Ro from the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. Thank you very much for joining us on Scarif Live tonight, Saturday, our usual time slot here on the Red 5 Network. What is happening? Who's in the chat? Let's go over to push a couple of buttons and see who's in the chat. I want to say hello to all my friends. Debbie got here first, it looks like. Hello, Debbie. She says she's here finishing up a prior engagement with a glue gun. That sounds exciting, but the speakers are on, so that is awesome. Skywalker's Academy, Amanda, thank you very much, Amanda, for joining us. Rural Farm Boy, what is up, my friend? Vader Rapina. Vader, yes, excellent. Ubaldo, as usual, front and center. Justin Reynolds, thank you very much. And we got some guests that are backstage that are also in the chat, Comics and Cosmetics. Danny coming out in a few minutes. Who else is in there? That would be me, and DJ's in there. Excellent. Thank you guys all for joining us. We are going to be talking about the first two episodes of the Ahsoka series. It's before we went on the air, I was talking to DJ that we were kind of exploring the I guess all the takes on the interwebs. There doesn't seem to be kind of like a middle ground. So we want to be able to maybe provide some opinions, some takes, something not too extreme. I know a lot of people are like, this is the best thing since sliced bread. And then you got on the other side, it's like, this is so crappy. So we want to be able to provide you with the kind of an even keel, as always here at the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast, an even keeled, more sensible I guess, explanation of our opinions. So let's bring out some people. We want to finish on time because we have a special announcement right after us. I will tell you guys where to go next here on the Red 5 Network. And obviously, if you have not seen the Ahsoka series yet, the first two episodes on Disney Plus, please avoid this chat if you want to avoid spoilers. But other than that, come on down. And I do want to say that we are in the midst of a writer strike with actors and writers, etc. They definitely deserve their share of the take of the pot. And I do want to preface that by saying, myself as a professional union member, I do support them. And I know a lot of podcasts are out there, choosing not to talk about struck material, but I choose to talk about it. I still support them. There is nothing wrong with talking about the projects that are in question. I am not a member of the Writers Guild. I am a member of another union, but I still support them. And that being said, I want to start bringing out some of our guests. First, we have DJ from the Exegesis.
Yes, sir. Yes,
What's
sir.
up?
Yeah. Oh, man, another fun and fantastic Saturday. Got to relax a little bit, ready to talk some Star Wars stuff. So, yeah, bring it on.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me and joining the rest of our guests. We have I think we've got Ahsoka herself joining us on this Scarif podcast. Let's bring out Citizen Ahsoka Tano.
You said my name 3 times, so now I'm here.
Oh, now you're here. There you go. Excellent.
Galaxy, Rosef. It really is. So this better be important.
It is important. We're talking about you.
Oh, well, there you go. Can't get more important than that.
Exactly.
Just take my hood off here and I'll stay a while.
That looks complicated.
And you wouldn't know it by watching me run around and jump and spin and stuff on the hollows that you watch, but it's quite heavy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Condition them a lot, but moisturize. That's really important, especially on tattooing. Don't get me started.
Don't get me started. Well,
Get
it looks
rubs lotion on
fantastic.
its skin.
Why, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. Danny from Comics and Cosmetics, thank you very much for joining us. We got one more surprise guest, and I will call it. It's Geek News Network, and I will call them the usurper of Red 5 Network podcast. Now that they took away the War of the Stars, but what's up, Ambrose?
That is
Way to
well,
effing go, Ambrose.
that's well above my pay grade. I had nothing to do with that. I am but a humble writer who just likes to talk some shit. So
I was gonna say you really like to stir the shit.
it wouldn't be me if I didn't.
But yeah, welcome everybody to the Scarif live show. We're going to be talking about Ahsoka. Like I said, I wanted to finish on time because I'm going to make an announcement later on. As the kids back in my day say, don't touch that dial. I know you guys are going to have to look it up. But
What's a dial?
what's a dial? Let's get down to business. Let's talk about Ahsoka. There were 2 episodes, and I'm really glad that they dropped 2 episodes at once. It really did seem kind of like a little movie release. There was a lot there to sink your teeth into. But let's go around the table here and really kind of get some general thoughts. Whether it's the first episode or a combination of. I wanted to get everybody's general thoughts on Ahsoka. Did you guys like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Is it another Kathleen Kennedy fail? What is your take? Let's start with DJ. DJ, what's up?
Well, after 2 episodes, I enjoyed it. There are some issues, but overall, yeah, I found it very entertaining, easy to catch up with, and yeah, I'm ready for more.
Excellent. Yeah. Let's before her head falls off, let's go with Ahsoka. What did you think of yourself in your show?
Not bad. I enjoyed it, and I knew what was happening, and I found it thrilling. Like, oh, look at that! It's Sabine. How exciting! Oh, she's got a cute little low cat. How nice! And you know what? My booty looked good.
Can't argue.
Dave
there.
really knows how to film a lady who's kicking ass. So, good job, Dave. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Excellent. Yeah. Ambrose, what about you?
I don't need to hear what he thinks.
Come on. I really like the show. I like the direction it's going in. I think the plot is good. My only problem with it is Ahsoka in Rebels and Clone Wars was a lot more energetic.
Well, she is like 50-something now.
And
I'm like 50-something now.
Yeah, but still, I mean, she's kind of like, it's reminding me of Mace Windu as opposed to like Ahsoka, the way she's carrying herself. I'm not really a fan of the interpretation of the character, but that's not enough for me to say it's a bad show. I do really like the show, so.
Yeah, I get it. We'll get into the nitty gritty there, some of the details there. Let's start at the beginning because I did post a Twitter post. I'm still not calling it X.
Twitter.
Everybody's talking about the crawl, and I think some of the people that watched the first 2 episodes before it was released, they got a little preview. Our friend Fandads got to watch it beforehand, and he was talking about how wonderful it is to see the crawl back, and I was really excited. I'm like, oh snap, the crawl is back. And then I watched it, I'm like, the crawl is not back. That's not really the crawl.
Way to go, Vic. Got all our hopes up.
And again, like Vader says, nitpicking, we're picking pepper out of paprika or whatever. But like you, Ambrose, I think I saw you post, I missed the crawl.
Yeah. I just missed the long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and that iconic would have gone a long way. I mean, it didn't take anything. It didn't add or take anything away from the
Yeah.
show for me, but it would have been a better way to start it.
Yeah, or maybe pick a different one. I know, people are saying that the main crawl should be for the the big movies, the big time movies. I get that. But again, just like Vader's saying, it's a nitpick.
But that crawl was kind of like at the beginning of a John Carpenter movie, as
Yeah.
opposed to a
Yeah,
Star Wars
and I
movie.
think that was kind of the point because, sorry, this is just bothering me. Okay, and I keep accidentally yanking out my headphone. I think it was supposed to have that ominous flair. It reminded me of Heir to the Empire with the little red letters, and because it didn't just go, "Bah, da, 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 da," it didn't just pop in there like all surprising and shocking. This is something that's been slowly building over several years. They've been, I've been searching the galaxy all
Sure.
this time.
Yeah.
And it had that kind of slow, patient, ominous vibe to it. And also letting you know that this isn't because my wife locked me in it.
Okay.
I didn't know force jump was a thing, but it'll
is,
really help next time I eat too much cheese.
We talked about new force powers. I think force dump might be on the
There
list.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take
Um,
this
So,
out. But
my-
it just
I'm sorry.
really felt like it had that. This is not, the original trilogy Star Wars. This is, new territory, very ominous. So it didn't offend me or my delicate Star Wars sensibilities
Sure.
at all.
I think it's
I get it.
more of a headcanon issue. We
Mhm.
hear crawl and we already have it in our mind on what it looks like. If we hadn't heard that and it opened up with the red letters and scrolling through the way that it did and just rolling on through, I don't think anybody would have had an issue with it. But once they attach that word crawl, us Star Wars minded people automatically think of gold letters flying off into the
Yeah.
into the universe. And so I had no issue with the information that it was given. It was just the way that it was presented through my headcanon that kind of messed it up for me.
Yeah, it's kind of like how, every James Bond movie opens with him shooting through, and then all of a sudden you expect that there's a James Bond TV show, and it's something completely different. And it doesn't take anything away from the content, but you're just kind of like, that's kind of a letdown.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get into the program. It starts out, we've got that little cool little Indiana Jones kind of Raiders of the Lost Ark sequence where she gets to that temple or whatever, and I thought that was pretty cool. I thought so. Here's the thing for me, the entire 2 episodes I was watching kind of with my butt cheeks, my scuttlebutt cheeks clenched, because I was cautiously optimistic, but there were some points where I'm like, oh, and when Sabine showed up and they almost played the Beastie Boys, that's when I was like, oh no, what's going on?
It's Star Trek 2009 all over again.
So I was a little afraid to like open my other eye during some of that stuff. But getting back to the Raiders of the Lost Ark, the secret seeking, I thought that was pretty cool. It's the story obviously starts out like right away. They're searching for something. They've got Ahsoka doing her thing. DJ, what'd you think of that sequence? And then that sequence that really leads up to the battle with Ahsoka and the droids.
I loved it. In fact, some of the music even was Indiana Jones-esque, as it
was very John Williams.
Yes, just the tonal patterns that they used were in the same key as the Raiders scene when this is going on. I almost expected after she turned that last one, a little golden idol to come up out of somewhere and it be the same one. I thought that would have been amazing. And that would be the key, is this little golden idol that somehow managed to find its way throughout all the different galaxies. I really liked it. it brought a lot of the intrigue and mystery that I saw in like Andor. That oh, here's the quest. They're going through it, and it's like, oh, it sucked me in. I was ready for it. So yeah, I liked it.
I felt like this time it really sounded like Star Wars. It sounded like, and not just the music, the ambient sounds, the dramatic stings, the suspense stings, they were all there. It sounded and it felt like Star Wars.
Okay. And that, you know what, I'm getting a lot of that. I'm getting a lot of people saying that this really felt like Star Wars. And I know people have had a problem with Andor, that it just, for them, it just didn't feel like Star Wars. But I think personally, everybody's got to bring something to their own table when it comes to Star Wars. It's different for a lot of people. But it's interesting because I am getting a lot of that. And obviously, you've got lightsaber battles, and that is, a prime ingredient for what people think Star Wars is. You've got, good people wielding lightsabers and bad people wielding, lightsabers. So, that's pretty good.
I will say one complaint I have.
Okay.
The makeup was way better on her in Mandalorian season 2 and Book of Boba Fett. I don't know what happened there. Like, what'd you do, guys? What happened with the makeup? Okay, that's all. No reason.
You can clip that one on your own and send it to who. Oh, sorry, Ambrose. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say I agree with you guys. I like those droids. If those droids had appeared in the
HKs.
If they appeared in the sequel trilogy, I might actually have, kind of
watched it and enjoyed
it. Yeah, those
not felt like really they pissed on your childhood's leg,
right.
Or and burnt a sack of my money. Yeah.
Don't drop your staff there, Danny. So
I'm sorry, who is this Danny
right.
you speak of?
We've got the next sequence, which is a prison breakout sequence. You've got Balin and Shin, supposedly 2 Jedi that came to kind of check out the prisoners on the ship there. But as they said, they are no Jedi. But
Jedi.
what do you guys think of this sequence? Obviously, the way that they tricked them, they tricked the captain by saying that they're Jedi. Are we?
They didn't really trick him.
Yeah. Are we surprised that people at this stage in the timeline are not like questioning more when somebody brings out the word Jedi?
Like when someone knocks on your door and they didn't call first. Well, nobody's doing a room check. Like, you expecting any Jedi?
Yeah.
No, I thought they were all dead. Me
Right.
too. Like,
Exactly.
Well, it's also like, what did this captain think the end result would be?
Right.
I mean, like if someone's knocking on my door and they're like, "Hey," and it's not them, and like the possibility that they could like kill you is there. Are you really gonna be like, "Let them in"? I want to see what this.
I
Jedi
got
has
this.
to say."
Stand back and watch. I'm going to win with words. He's obviously never gotten in a fight on the internet.
What would have happened if they were Jedi? I mean, come on. I mean,
they kind of were. They were dark Jedi.
Well,
so
yeah, but I mean, it's just
dumbass.
Yeah.
That guy was a dumbass.
I love the introduction. I loved seeing Balin. He reminded me of of Count Dooku. That
Count
stoic
yeah.
kind of, I'm right in whatever I say, and it doesn't matter what I say because I'm always right. I love seeing this new apprentice. I was not. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, and was not. I don't know. I almost expected when they said, do they have a code? I almost expected them to say, well, it's an older code,
Older
sir,
code, but it checks out.
And I'm like,
I'm
okay.
glad
too.
they didn't. I'm glad they didn't because
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for fan service, but sometimes it's like too much. How many times can you hear Darth Vader say, "Enough with the pleasantries, Commander. I'm here to put you back on schedule." It's like, okay, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a problem enough with him saying we are no Jedi because I felt like that
Right,
was
yeah.
already. He could have said it in some other words. That's your
Yeah.
line.
Oh, Ambrose,
Um,
why are you nitpicking? It had weight. It was a moment. It was
Well,
a
Ray
moment.
Steve, I mean,
I'm
talking
defending
about
your
the action,
honor.
Yeah, your
Oh,
honor.
I mean, okay,
What honor?
whatever.
I mean,
But
Ray
no,
Stevenson really talk about
Yeah, he
gravitas.
freaking. I like
He-
the whole, that he is kind of like Count Poo Poo, but he's like a sexy Count Poo Poo, so I'm good with that.
But he did a good enough job or enough credits not being given to Shin because how did she go through those 2 episodes without blinking? Like that was intense. Like she had just an intense look to her, and it really paid
Ro
off.
didn't
on
need her
screen.
to blink. I don't think he blinked.
No. But Ubaldo's got a point. There are some similarities between the two characters, Count Dooku and this guy. And I think, we might, going forward, we might get some insight into what Balin's what do you call it, motivation is. And I think it might be similar to Dooku. I mean, Dooku kind of said, hey, something's going on with the Jedi Order here. I want to step back and maybe take a look at things with a fine-tooth comb and see if I can distill what's going on. And I think Balin might be the same way, although for me, I think right now he's just a hired thug.
Yeah, but Balin has reservations about killing Jedi where
Right, yeah.
Dooku really did not at all.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he not? Or
he crushed Yaddle with the gear?
That's true.
Like plop. And I think wasn't it discovered in was it Clone Wars? He was the one who killed Sifo Dyas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Indeed. Yeah. He's a.
With this scene, do you guys think that the hallway scene has been overplayed now?
I know Ro does. But I still love a good kill box.
What, the 3rd or 4th time that we've seen this same shot and angle and everything?
Oh, in like 45 years? Oh no! And how many?
Shut up.
How many projects? I love a good kill box scene.
Within the last few years, we've seen that. Starting with Rogue One. And then
that was the best. That was the best one. They should just stop after Rogue One's Darth Vader.
It's like okay. It was nice having Star Wars, but there's no topping Rogue One. Thank you and good night.
The hallway scene has been overdone since like the first martial arts movie where that was lifted from. I mean, every time there's an action or martial arts movie, you see the hallway scene.
Lee, there you go.
Daredevil,
Iron Fist.
That was like one of the greatest kill box scenes of all time. We forgot to mention something real quick. Ro, this is my first time on Scarif Live.
Oh, okay. I know you've been on the show before.
On the podcast.
Right. But this is the
one
first time.
And this is the first time on Scarif Live.
Very nice. Well,
welcome to the club.
Welcome to the show. Tim Talk, thank you very much for joining us.
KK should have played Ahsoka.
Now everyone go on Twitter and say that you saw a guy named Joker Face. Say that. Joker something.
That's funny. What do you guys think about Ahsoka's fighting style? Later on she comes out from getting the globe map thing and the HK droids are there, ready to, they're going to Belloc Ahsoka's, map thing.
Right?
Too bad you don't speak Jovitos. But she does seem like she has been practicing, and she's honing her skills.
She's getting real good
She's
with the
changed it up a
lightsaber
little bit.
spinny thing.
Yeah.
I've been practicing a lot in my backyard.
She had trouble against the third guy with the Inquisitor saber, though.
Of the
Yeah,
Marek.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
the really cool,
Yeah.
like, actual knight armor. That is so cool.
Oh,
But
I
yeah,
love that.
the 1988 Oldsmobile grill.
If you don't just let me have things.
Yeah, she changed up her style though.
Well, that's
I
the
don't
cool
know.
Yeah,
thing.
she's got more of that Japanese stance.
Well, the her left hand normally was in a reverse grip in Clone Wars and in Rebels. She had the regular grip, standard grip in the right hand, and a reverse grip in the left hand.
She grips
and-
them like this now.
And then and now she has them both standard grip. So
Mhm.
it's a little different, but still works.
Maybe it was because we haven't seen her before this in a duel since she fought Darth Vader, and she realized that wasn't working.
You're right.
Could be.
Perhaps, yeah.
One of the things that intrigues me is, a lot of people have been asking questions as far as, where in the timeline all of this takes place. And I know, we'll get to it. We'll talk about that very last scene. For all intents and purposes, I mean, that last scene, we see it in the last episode of Rebels. But there seems to be a little bit of confusion as to where this is. At this point, did Ahsoka already visit Luke? Did she already decide not to train Grogu, and then now she's training Sabine?
Yeah.
There's a lot of confusion there, but let's get back. Let's talk about characters, because I was really worried about the casting, especially when that first picture of Hera was introduced, and I'm like, I don't know if I see it yet. But I actually was pleasantly surprised, and not that the actress is playing Hera from the animated show. She's giving it her own spin, and I think I appreciate that. I think I'm liking that. What do you guys think?
I like Mary Elizabeth Winstead in just about everything she does. She's good. She's good. And I like her Hera because you can see the development of Hera because Hera was always a very motherly, maternal figure, but now she's also a general.
Right.
So, and I'm sure Jason was not easy raising as a single mom, single working mom. And now she's got basically her two sisters who are beefing, and she would just like to be able to hang out with both of them at the same time. So it really feels like she's really, really, really reaching. Like, I'm trying not to look pushy, but why don't you two talk?
I was kind of disappointed when they introduced Sabine, because when she said there's only one person who knows what to do with this, I was sitting there, I was like, come on, give me Hondo. Give me Hondo.
Yeah.
Give me Hondo. And when she was like, no, I was like, yes, it's going to be Hondo. And then it was Sabine. And I was like, all right, I'll take Sabine. But I really wanted Hondo.
What's Hondo going to do? Just find stuff. Hondo can, find just some junk to, hold it. But he's not going to be able to figure it out for himself,
So I want to address something that the chat is going on about. And Vader thinks that the Inquisitor dude is Ezra, and I've been afraid to say this in public. I think I said it last. I think I said it on. I forgot whose show I was on midweek. I think it was Coruscant Radio Underground. But I also think that he's going to turn out to be Ezra, but there's a weird logic that I'm trying to work through as far as, why that wouldn't work. But I'm basing my opinion on thinking that he's Ezra because I saw a behind the scenes shot of the actor that plays Ezra in that suit without the 1988
Stop
Oldsmobile
it.
grill mask.
Don't
So
be knocking Oldsmobile, man.
So
Those things are tanks.
Yeah, they don't build them like that anymore. But that's why I'm basing my opinion on him being Ezra. But again, like the logistics side of me says, why would he be Ezra other than, and this is going to suck if this comes to fruition, he came back somehow
Ezra returned
to lure Thrawn back from wherever it is that he ended up. So it's almost like he turned into Reva by trying to get Vader. So now, I hope not too.
But if he got back, how come Thrawn wouldn't have been able to get back?
I don't know.
Yeah, see, that would be my question. Why I don't think Dave would do that because it's too complicated to pull off. In how many episodes we're getting? 6?
6, yeah.
I think it's going to be a big reveal. Like it might be Jason.
Dun dun dun. Oh,
it might be.
Ooh.
Like it might be someone like that.
Maybe it's Hondo.
Maybe it's Hondo.
It's Hondo.
Maybe it's Hondo's little pig friend.
Oh no. He's turned to the dark side as well. I don't know. I don't think it's Ezra. Jason. I think Ezra is still stuck where Thrawn is. I think where Ezra was going with his character, he was too almost pure of a Jedi at that point to do something like that. I think he would have too much of a what's the word I'm looking for? Duty. Too much of a sense of duty and honor to not stay there with him,
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get back to some of the characters or even the actors. I think, like I said, I was a little apprehensive of Hera, but once I saw her, she did fantastic.
I told you. You were so stressed and so worried.
I'm still on the fence about Hera.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's a CGI thing, but her eyes always just seem to be a little bit off. And to me, that just makes it look weird.
It's the contacts.
Perhaps. But something just seems off. And then for her personality to not necessarily match what we've seen or what we're used to. She's a general now. She's grown. She's evolved. But I thought she'd be a little more mothering than what we saw. So I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence.
I mean, but at least I could see, piggybacking off that, you could see from the end of Rebels and how it ended why she'd be the way she was, like with Kanan Jarrus dying and everything, she might have affected her a little bit. I like Mary Elizabeth Winstead's interpretation of Hera a lot more than I like Rosario Dawson's interpretation of Ahsoka.
Well, right now, yes, I think we're going to see a change in Ahsoka because she is, I've seen a lot of people say, why is she so stoic? I mean, she's always with her arms crossed, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, that's also a protective stance too.
Yeah, and I think she played it that way in the animation as Fulcrum, and I think she's still Fulcrum at this point.
Yeah.
Trying to uncover, the plots of the heir to the Empire. One thing that bothers me, and I put this this image up, is I'm still bothered by the costumes because they seem to look like they went down to the local Walmart and mixed matched different sized boots for different actors, and it's just not working for me, man.
I'm bothered by the costumes and the mural. The mural looks like a souvenir T-shirt you'd buy for a kid at the zoo. It's like just really bad. They could have done a little bit more with that, you know.
But how cool is it to get him back to play the character that he played in the animation? I think
was Clancy Brown the voice of him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So he plays 2 but 3 characters in Star Wars. So it's always cool to see Clancy.
He's good in everything. He's in one of my favorite video games, Detroit Become Human. Even the God, what was it, Pet Cemetery 2, which was terrible, but he was good in that. So, he's good in everything he does.
True that. Sabine. This actress's birthday was yesterday. Everybody was saying that she is stealing the show, and I have a feeling they're right.
Yes.
I really enjoyed Sabine as a character. I thought I wouldn't, the first time around, because she did a lot of moping around, but I think there's certain little things that Dave Filoni as a director did to kind of, I don't know, cement some character moments in her during filming. There's some extra shots of her, looking off. I mean, they do the same thing with Huang, the robot. The droid.
Huyang. She pronounces it different every time she says it.
Yeah. I kind of feel that same way. But I'm really liking Sabine. And again, on Coruscant Radio Underground, when we did the live last week in midweek, I had made a prediction that Sabine was going to bite the bullet. And then at the end of that first episode, I'm like, oh, snap. It came true.
Yeah,
but
that was one of my notes in there. It's like, I can't believe Ro pulled this out of nowhere and almost nailed it. And I was like, oh, there's no way that we're going to shrink his head back down if this comes to pass.
Well, here's the thing. I still think she's going to die somewhere in the series. She's going to get the lightsaber to the other side of the gut, and it'll be
the sweet spot.
I just feel like Qui-Gon, like Force Ghost Qui-Gon, is sitting next to Yoda, and he's like, seriously, dude?
Going.
Like, really?
No, someone brought that up, and I had to tweet about it. I'm like, listen, y'all act like Star Wars isn't the land of, well, I don't know if he's going to make it. What do you mean, Doc? Well, he got hit in the shoulder. So it's a 50-50 chance. He could either stand up in the next 10 seconds and be perfectly fine, or he could immediately die. Look, he got hit in the shoulder, man. I don't know what to tell you.
This would be easily solved if George Lucas would just explain Qui-Gon the way he explained why Lando was wearing Han Solo's clothes at the end of Empire Strikes Back. Liam Neeson is expensive. Like, the rest of you aren't.
Oh, and by the way, no bricks in Star Wars, no screws in Star Wars, no underwear in Star Wars,
no scoops,
and no scoops. Damn it! It's a space scoop.
Sabine. I mean, and you showed a still just a little bit ago when she was on the speeder, and that smirk. The actress has that Sabine grin / smirk down pat. It's exactly what I would have expected.
Throw up Amanda's comment there, that last one, because that was something you and I talked about.
Yeah, and I did not like that fight at the first time I saw it, but the second time I thought about it a little more, and
you thought about it? You didn't have a conversation with a good friend?
Well, I thought about it, and then good to have you back to the Red Fight Network shit. But my God, my girl was toying with Sabine, and it was, seeing it that second time, after we talked, seeing it.
Well, I told you the look on her face when Sabine just whips on that lightsaber. She
Yeah.
doesn't even look over. She was just like,
Or blink.
hold this. I'm about to teach this bitch a lesson. Hold on.
Yeah.
Doesn't leave eye contact with Sabine. She's like, all right, let's see what you got, little one. Oh, whack.
And poor Sabine, I mean, when she gets knocked down that one time, she's like on the ground on her knees and she's just like blindly waving, throwing that lightsaber.
Yeah,
Again,
like
you can
me in
you
high
can definitely-
school, just like
Yeah, you can definitely tell skill level. I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
I hit my crystal came loose. Whoops.
But merely a flesh wound. So Sabine unlocks the map. First of all, not another damn map.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Star Wars, man. Gotta have the maps.
Gotta
So you
have
get
the maps.
around in the galaxy.
But
Now
at
that
least
we have the maps.
playing devil's advocate, at least this one it makes sense because the map is in another galaxy. Like in Last Jedi, it was like, you guys have the Force. He's literally right there. You guys have the Force. Why do you need a map? This one, at least, it's like in another galaxy, and you need to find a way to get to that galaxy.
Sure.
Devil's advocate, thy name is John Ambrose.
Professional lawyer for the devil.
Well, good night, folks. We're done.
No, but the scenes. I want to talk about tone a little bit. The scenes that Balin is in are just so heavy. And obviously we've known these characters through the animated series, Sabine and Hera, Ahsoka, etc. But when these two new characters showed up, like for me in particular, I was just like, I got to listen to what they have to say. I want to look at their costumes. I want to look at their mannerisms. They really drew the attention of my attention. But I think they were great. I think
Ray Stevenson just sucks all the air.
I
mean, he's so imposing. That big barrel chest of his just marching down that hallway. You felt that. This man, big ups to Ray Stevenson. Thank you for some good Star Wars before you left us.
And I'm not really going back to that. I'm still not really getting Count Dooku. I'm getting more mercenary vibes from him.
Oh yeah.
I'm getting kind of when I look at it, it's like if Anakin didn't completely turn to the dark side, I feel like that's what he'd be.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not that big and imposing. He was a little guy.
Well, I mean, if he was still David Prowse, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he grew 10 feet.
Between... And this is true. This is true. But Tim's got a good point. The whole time I kept giggling to myself, like, no back to tanks. We're not getting a back to tank. And did we use all the back to tanks for Boba?
Boba Fett needed 4 of them.
There's a galactic shortage on back to tanks now. Back to fluid.
What's up, Fulcrum? Some new people joining the chat. Yeah, thanks. I didn't mind it. I mean, as fans, we kind of take a look at some of these details in the shows and kind of make our own little explanations. But I think, the lightsaber situation, I know a lot of people were up in arms about, people not dying after getting impaled with lightsabers anymore. But, dramatic effect, whatever.
But I mean, and the back to tank thing, I mean, you kind of need the back to tank. You can't have that if they're supposed to interact with her and have her help fix things.
Right.
You can't really hand her so you have to take some creative liberties.
Excellent point.
Like you can't hand her a droid head and like drop it in like it's fish food and have her sit there.
You might. Well, Science Fictionary has an excellent point here that they've stopped using the back to tanks because they've been known to have a severe side effect of flashbacks. And not just any flashbacks, but completely non sequitur flashbacks that has nothing to do with the current story.
They're called Back to Flash tanks.
Back to Flash. But I mean, sometimes Star Wars fans just have to cool it with the technicalities. Like, it's not like Shakespeare fans watch Julius Caesar, and every time it shows him looking at the clock, they're like, there were no clocks back then. No, you just watched the play.
How many times have we seen clocks in this play? Too many clocks. It's been overdone.
I want to give a quick announcement before I forget. Amanda, our friend Amanda, has a new show. If you guys like talking about gaming and discussing games, video games, and stuff like that, it's Level Up Arcade. I posted a post on the Red 5 Twitter. Please give her a follow and look for Level Up Arcade on YouTube right after this show. And DJ, you're heading over there for the show as well. So I want to make sure that we finish up and we cover some ground here before I let DJ go, because I do want to kind of hang out in Amanda's chat. But the galaxy that is calling to what's her name? Not Macbeth, Lesbeth. What's her name?
Morgan Elsbeth.
Lady Macbeth.
Lady Macbeth.
Morgan Elsbeth. Lady Morgan.
But the fact that she's been introduced, I guess, as I guess officially as a Night Sister. I think that's interesting. I think I love when Star Wars throws in all this weird magic lore.
I do too.
Stuff. It's really great, and I'm looking forward to finding out a lot more of all this magical, weird witchcraft stuff.
I'm waiting for people to lose their minds over, when Ahsoka tells Sabine, she's like, the Night Sisters of Dathomir, and Sabine's like, witches. And nobody's going, how dare you? How dare you? That's a derogatory term. Don't call me that. Like when Shin tells Lady Morgan, you're a witch. And she just looks at her. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
You gone done it now.
Tim Talk says Boba Fett started his own back to chain business and put everyone else out.
Mm-hmm. Supply and demand.
I'm telling you.
Supply and demand.
So the thought of her hearing voices, just Thrawn speaks to me from
to me.
And I think who was it? Was it Rhaegon that was talking about what happens if it's not Thrawn? And you have these guys that are you have the Sith and the Jedi go to this place. Now they have to team up to combat whatever evil it is. Man, it's
like that. It's like that episode of The Simpsons where he's speaking into her ear through a tube from under the bed because she kicked him out of the house.
And did you notice? I got really excited, and I'm probably reading into things. Don't read into it, Morty. But she said, because Ray Stevenson asks her who built this, and she said, an ancient people in a distant galaxy. And I'm like, a long time ago in a galaxy far away. She said it. I felt like it was a nod.
I didn't catch that.
Well, she said it.
They enslaved Ewoks.
But what do you guys think they're going to be bringing in? Obviously the Chiss and the reason for Thrawn teaming up with the Empire, so I'll scratch your back when it's time for you to scratch my back. Remember me. Do you guys think that they're going to be introducing all of that stuff from the Thrawn books into all this?
Ooh, if Filoni wants to, he does. He loves that stuff. Yeah. And ever since he started working with Lucasfilm, and Disney bought it. He's been slowly like, okay, I want this one. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell Disney it's their Legends. And he
Right.
slides that in there. I love him for that.
Yeah, they've been doing that for a while. They've kind of
Mhm.
been mining some of the EU stuff here and there wherever it seems fit. I think the problem is
It'd be
that
stupid not to.
if you start taking things off of the Thrawn novels, then where do you stop? If you don't include the other stuff that's in the novels, there's going to be people that are going to burn it down. They didn't include it all.
Right. And
So
to go even one step farther from there, it's almost an untapped source of damn near limitless source material. If you're looking for Star Wars shit to write, grab a book.
Well,
There's so many.
that was what was so frustrating. What was it, 4 or 5 years ago
Mhm.
when what was the last one? Rise of Skywalker.
yeah,
When that came out, and Kathleen Kennedy sat
Palpatine.
there and she sat there in that issue, and she said in that interview, and she said, "Well, it's not like we have books and comic books to draw
Oh,
from."
yeah.
And
Yeah.
and like everyone in unison, you could hear them be like, "You canceled all of them, you idiot!" Like you made them non.
I don't know what you're talking about. She's the greatest thing that's ever happened to Lucasfilm ever.
Oh yeah, Disney overlords. I love Kathleen Kennedy. That was just an example of a friend of mine that said that. Sorry,
we're
Oh,
all
good.
shills
know,
here.
yeah,
Force is female.
Force is female. Yeah. So
I
let's.
mean,
just
at least 50% of it is.
Too funny. But yeah, I mean, are you guys looking forward to more Ahsoka? We are
Yes.
2 shows behind. Not behind, but we're 2 shows in. And it all leads to a movie, supposedly,
Yeah.
right?
I think this
Several
is going to be.
movies.
Apparently, if the plan is, it's going to tie in all of Filoni's projects,
Yes.
and that's going to build into the movie. So I'm kind of interested to see where this is going.
And what I'm hearing from the West Coast is that the Filoni movie will be Pedro Pascal's last ride as the Mandalorian, and then Grogu's caretaker will become Bo-Katan.
I
Force
think
is female.
Pedro has already reached that point.
Yeah.
He reached that in the very end of season 1, beginning of season 2.
Yeah.
And everything has been slid back because of the strike, and
Mm-hmm.
we've got shows that are being delayed, and production was supposed to start like this month on certain things, and now probably won't start for so it's gonna
Releases
be
are getting
super
pushed
rough.
around of things
This
that are already
strike has
done.
already gone longer than the last one, and we've got the actors striking now, and the studios are like, nah, son, we're gonna make you get kicked out of your apartment first.
That's cold, bitch. That's cold.
That's awful, man.
Yeah.
That's just wrong.
That's a cold ass thing to say. I'm sorry.
That's like Mr. Burns. That's like Mr. Burns is running the studio right now.
Yeah.
Smithers, see to it that they have no phones.
I'll do a Burns cosplay next.
Yeah.
I'm digging the show. I think it's going to tie into not only a Filoni movie, but into the other movies that are forecasted as well. I think we're going to see, especially with this Hyper Stargate thing, whatever they're building.
Oh,
The Eye
yeah.
of Sion, who was the Lord of Pain.
I think that
That's
we're
when
going
you
to get.
drop the ring.
I think we're going to get that in Dawn of the Jedi as well, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, they're building up to something interesting. I'm ready for the ride. Looking forward to seeing what else they have up their sleeve. So more Ahsoka next week. More Scarif Live. We'll kind of dive into episode 3 with some new guests.
And
Skywalker Academy. I love a good dad joke.
Personally, I wouldn't want to see, and it's not because I didn't like the character, but we talked about this on Twitter earlier. I don't want to see Zeb come back because his story ended
Because
so
you
perfectly.
hate Joy.
Because you hate Joy.
No,
His
he's got a point.
story,
Yeah.
his story ended so perfectly. He was in it because he thought he was the only one of his kind left,
And what I say.
and then he found his people.
He found his people, right?
And
Right,
made
yeah, he
peace
found
with
his people,
He made peace
but
with
Are
Callus,
you telling me that his experiences with the Ghost crew didn't give him a new reason to fight? And if they tell him, yo, Zach, we know
Come
where to
on
get
back.
Ezra, you in? He'd be like,
I mean, I wouldn't be upset if he came back, but he's literally the only person in the show that got a good ending.
listen, in Mando season 3, he's just hanging out at a Republic bar. I didn't see any of his people around. I'm just saying.
All right,
Just
folks.
saying.
Let's wrap things up. I know DJ's got to head on over to the next show, and I want to hang in the chat and support our friend Amanda. But let's go around the table and tell people where people can find you, DJ.
So you can find me on Thursdays at 7 Central, 8 Eastern on the Exegesis. Next week, we're going to be talking about podcasting post-pandemic. Follow me on Twitter, Red for Charlie, or the Exegesis R5. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. And Ahsoka, where can people find you besides the outer regions of the galaxy?
Well, definitely not yelling at my children who are in the other room, monkeying around in the kitchen. Certainly not that. You can find me on Comics and Cosmetics. It's just at Comics and Cosmetics on YouTube, any of the socials. I drop a new episode once a week, usually on Saturdays, and I have a live stream every Sunday, and it's either Comics Redacted, which is a super fun game that we're playing tomorrow with this butthole over here.
Whoa.
You're playing Comics Redacted, right?
Who, me?
Okay. Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just
Hello.
very uncalled for.
Uncalled for.
Very uncalled for. That
Like
hurt
comics-
ear and ear.
We play Comics Redacted, which is like Cards Against Humanity, but only with comic book characters. And then we also have Inside the Small Council, which displays scripted series about Game of Thrones. And sometimes we actually, talk about nerdy stuff. And we always talking about what's going on in the world of nerdy news that week.
Excellent. And Ambrose, Geek News Now.
You can catch my writing on geeknewsnow.net. I write for them. In an hour, I will be on the Geek Gauntlet podcast where we go over the week's nerdy news. And as mentioned earlier, I will be the butthole playing Comics Redacted on the Comics and Cosmetics channel tomorrow. So a lot of fun and, pop up here and there. I might be here again. Don't know. But that's pretty much what I do. So, yeah.
Excellent. All right, everybody in the chat, thank you very much for joining us on this edition of Scarif Live. Head on over to Amanda's. Let's talk games. Until next time, this is Ro and the crew, and that's the Scuttlebutt. Talk to you guys later.